The problem is that the right wing, hello Scott, has taken advantage of this situation, I think, quite cleverly, quite wisely. They've played into a weakness.
What situation?
The situation of media being under attack. And so they've created a situation where...
You've almost got it. Keep going. What the right wing is taking advantage of is finally the American people saying enough is enough. They're tired of feeling like the mass media screens out one viewpoint versus another in political coverage. They're tired of media institutions favoring one party over another. They're tired of narratives over factual stories. If I had any advice for 60 Minutes or anybody else, it would be just cover the news and try to be fair about it and stop putting your finger on the scale, especially during campaigns.
You're talking about the old mass media myth that you could have this thing that was in the middle. The Walter Cronkite saying, that's the way it is, when it wasn't for many Americans the way it was. When people were pissed off.
People back in those days trusted the media, didn't they?
No, they just couldn't be heard because there was no two-way. Now we have the internet.
Look at the Gallup polling. It was here, and now it's here. It's fallen off of a cliff.
Yeah, we do have that Gallup polling about trust in media, and now, as in recent years, and let's be honest, Scott, a lot of this is driven by the rhetoric on your side of the aisle.
I mean,
it's not.
You think it's driven by the rhetoric and not the performance?
Absolutely.
But my point is this: if you're CBS or any other news outlet, the reason that you have lost trust ought to be obvious to you, and the way to fix it also ought to be obvious to you. And it has nothing to do with Donald Trump and everything to do with the product. Just try to make a better product that appeals to more people. And the way you appeal to more people is by not crapping on half or more than half of the country because of their values and political viewpoints.
I think that is
what you'd end up with in that press room then is, and these are my words, the freak show that Trump wants. Trump tries to devalue media. Why should we value his freak show there? Let's leave it to the freaks.
I think calling them freaks.
I don't think there's any disagreement on that, by the way.
I mean, he called these new media sources the freak show. They're not freaks. They have audiences.
Some of them are.
They have audiences, and there's a reason that they're thriving is because people are starved for information that they think they can trust. They're not freaks. They're filling a need in this country, in my opinion.
All right.
Good morning, Owasso. This is the Twins with Owasso Live, and this is the Morning Loop, and you heard it right there. Anybody who is not part of the mainstream media are freaks. That's the sad reality of the media class, of the elite media class. I mean, these people will always, the ivory tower elites at college institutions, the ivory tower elites in media, and the ivory tower elites in Washington, they will always thumb their noses down at you. You are just a pleb. You are a cog in their machine. And again, it's like all these people are the same people that will say, eat the rich, tax the rich. You know, it's like they don't like the poor. They don't like the uneducated. They just hate the rich, and they hate the people who are successful business-wise. That's what this is. And again, that's what the topic of the show is. Tim Pool takes the White House, or Tim Pool White House takeover. We ended the show yesterday with Tim Pool asking that question. It's like talking about the Maryland man story. And he was calling out everybody there in that room going, it's like the media jumped on this story that has no truth or no actual, reality. Again, it's what they're saying is technically true because he's the man that is currently in Maryland or was currently in Maryland, but they omit the fact that he is an El Salvadorian national. And again, that's what's wrong with the current media classes. They cite each other. One media outlet posts it, another media outlet uses them as their primary source, and that's how misinformation gets spread so quickly. And again, and they have weasel lawyers who go, this is not, he might be from El Salvador, but it's not a lie saying that he's a Maryland man because he's technically a man that currently resides in Maryland. Whether or not, we don't have to mention whether or not he's legally or illegally there. That's what's wrong with this country. That's what's wrong with the media class. And that's what that guy was trying to crap on that college professor about, was like, it's like, you call them freaks. These are, again, like he was referring to Tim Pool. Like that's what they were talking about. He was referring to Tim Pool in the White House. I trust Tim Pool because I've been following Tim Pool for a long time. He's someone that I go, he's going to shoot straight with you. He's not going to he might be biased to some degree, but like he's going to let you know what his bias is. the media feigns bias all the time. They go, oh, we are so biased. Like, I mean, again, if that's the truth, then how is it that, 90% of journalists all vote Democrat? There is no bias in media. And again, this is what happens when, again, I have friends who go, CNN's the most trusted news. If you're not watching CNN, you're not getting any real news. I mean, I have friends from college that still believe that.
Yeah. What are the two biggest jobs that are you're most likely to be Democrat? It's teaching and media.
Yeah,
like
journalism.
News media and journalism. So very strange. And then then I'd argue it's probably after that, it's probably like the rest of the media is in like acting and, filmmaking.
Yeah. Because again, they all come from this, you either like, and they all come from the, like if you're a journalist, you're either struggling or you're working at a big media company. If you're an actor, you're either struggling or you're the 1%, you're super famous.
Yep. But
So
I'll play the Tim Pool moment right here.
Yeah.
And we'll go on after that.
So again, this is the moment that we're referring to. This was the freak show that that guy was referring to. This right here.
This is probably what this video is right here as well, but I'm going to play it in the smaller screen.
These organizations that are represented in this room have marched in lockstep on false narratives, such as the Very Fine People hoax, the Covington smear, and now what's being called the Maryland Man hoax, where an MS-13 gang member adjudicated by two different judges, I believe, is just simply being referred to as a Maryland Man over and over again. Now, in an effort from the White House to expand access to new companies, you've created this new media seat. So I'm wondering if you can comment on, following this expansion, you've had numerous outlets disparage the companies that you've had sit here, as well as the reporters. I'm wondering if you can comment on the unprofessional behavior, as well as elaborate if there's any plans to expand access to new companies.
Sure. Well, we certainly welcome diverse viewpoints in this room, which is one of the reasons we have you in here, and there's many new faces in this room in comparison to the previous administrations. We want to welcome all viewpoints into this room. We welcome unbiased journalists who really care about the truth and the facts and the accuracy, and you rightfully pointed out the Maryland Man story, which I, from this podium, when The Atlantic published it, on that very first day, I came to this podium and said, this is wrong. The press in this room have this story wrong, and we have seen more and more evidence come to the table that we have had all along. We were always right. The president was always on the right side of this issue to deport this illegal criminal from our community. And it is despicable to see the media continue to refer to this individual as someone who is just a peaceful man living his life in Maryland. This was and always has been an illegal criminal, an MS-13 gang member, and a designated foreign terrorist. And the administration maintains our position to deport these individuals from our community. So thank you for being here, Tim. It's great to see you.
Yeah, so again, this is the freak show that guy was referring to. I mean, if you notice right there, the lovely Caitlin Collins didn't even have the courtesy to ever look up from her little notepad. Like, she's doing something so important that she couldn't even acknowledge that Tim Pool is in the room. You know what I mean? And again, it's like Caitlin Collins. Like, do you think she works at CNN because she's like the most qualified journalist that's ever been? Or is it because she's really attractive? You know what I mean? Like, what, like, seriously. Do you think she is the best journalist that has ever been, or is she just really easy on the eyes and that's why she's got the job? Like, this is the kind of stuff that, like, why I talk about how, like, when men go, why women shouldn't be in the workforce, this is one of those reasons. You know, it's like, is she really qualified? Is she really just the best journalist out there? What groundbreaking reporting did she do to get that anchor position? You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So, I mean, and I could be wrong. I haven't really researched into
the DEI aspect of it, too.
Yeah.
Is she a DEI hire? You know, because...
Oh, yeah, and even that panel that panel full of people besides the token Republican on there, the guy that we like so much.
Yeah.
But, I mean, it's just
it's
a bunch of people of color. And do you think they're there because they're the best journalists, or because DEI, they're like, oh, we got a couple of black ladies on this panel to be our new CNN host because they fired Joy Reid because she wasn't pretty enough to have the job, you know? We got some moderately attractive black women on the show now, so what are we talking about here? Let's just give them the talking points and they can just go.
I think, was Joy Reid CNN?
She was MSNBC.
Yeah, she's MSNBC. Yeah, that was CNN. But yeah, either way. But that's what I have. But here's how the media responded to Tim. Like I said, not just that video that we watched before the start the show, but MAGA podcaster goes full suck up in first White House briefing. Tim Pool, who was paid handsomely to spread pro-Russia talking points, teed up a softball question for Trump's press secretary. Okay, that wasn't a softball question. It was him. He stated deliberately that he was calling out the media for their bias and calling out lies that the media is spreading. And 2, pro-Russia talking points.
That's what we call poisoning the well right there. Again, if you haven't seen our Tenet Media scandal video on Tim Pool and the Tenet Media scandal, go check it out. Because we talked about how Lauren Chin, who was the roaming millennial, she was originally roaming millennial, then started using her real name after she got big enough on YouTube. She was approached by some media backers that were like, hey, we want you to start this show called Tenet Media, and we want you to find a bunch of right-wing podcasters to just be involved in this Tenet Media network, and it'll be like the Fox News or Newsmax, except of YouTube. Turns out that some of these backers were from Russia or something along those lines, but the problem is they're like going, all these media outlets are lying, going, well, Russian outlets paid them to post propaganda. It's like, no, Tim Pool and all the people who were in Tenet Media, like Matt Christensen, they reported on things they wanted to report on.
They were never sent any talking points. They bought. What happened was Lauren Chin got into it with some investors who happened to be from Russia or whatever, and then it turned out that they were some type of connected to the Russia, some type of Russia, agency or whatever. And all they did was purchase their shows, and they paid for that thing to be sent to Tenet Media, which was at this point, it was like a YouTube channel.
Yes, so basically they looked at the average of what all the YouTube videos they make, and they're assuming that they're going to get that, and they go, we'll pay you a guarantee. So whenever a person posts a YouTube video, they don't know if their video is going to go viral or if it's going to reach all their subscribers. So they're taking a gamble. So typically, let's say Tim Pool has 2 million subscribers. If 10% of his audience is following the show, which is what the average is, 10% of your audience, of your subscribers are the ones who actually tune in. So that means 200,000 views per video. So that's what they would pay him for. But Tim Pool probably argued and negotiated, I need double that in order to give you the rights to make the revenue off of my video. And that's all it was. They aggregated all these videos, paid them what they thought the videos would be worth.
Yeah.
And if they and like I said, it was a gamble. They could have lost money on the videos, or Tim Pool could have got hosed, and Tenet Media could have made twice the money that he got paid for the video.
But
that's what it is, though. You're taking a guaranteed paycheck, and then the company, the Tenet Media, was taking a risk on whether or not they were going to make money or lose money on the video. And they didn't give them talking points. They reported on the things that they wanted to report about.
Yes. So regardless, they may have got paid, but they did not have talking points. I mean, the one that Tim Pool did was a talk show between it was like a cultural war talk show. Yeah, it was his culture war thing where they didn't talk politics. Sometimes politics gets brought up, but it's them talking about how people became in some cases it was like how YouTubers got up and started, or he brings on a skateboarder or something and talks about their career. It had seldom to do with politics.
But again, this is what the media does. They lie about what happened. They go, they were paid Russian assets. It's like, get wrecked.
Yeah, that's why I'm going to finish reading up this story right here. Trump supporting podcaster who he only supported Trump in this last election. He didn't vote for Trump in 2016. So I love how they start with that. So Trump supporting podcaster allegedly paid massive sums by the Russian state media, used his time during Tuesday's White House press brief to slam the reporters surrounding him. Yeah, that was more accurate than the statement that I just read above that. Tim Pool, who was added to the press pool late last month, opted to wear his signature beanie and zip-up hoodie to an exclusive affair, introducing his question with a lethal rant about the number of right-wing grievances concerning mainstream media. Okay, so again, what are they doing? Attacking what he's wearing.
Thumbing their nose at the average Joe who made his way on his own. I mean, they hate you. These elites, they hate you.
Yeah. Then go on down.
This would be like if someone had you remember that viral video or viral picture of that father who worked in a coal mine who came to a basketball game and sat with his daughter he was covered in coal. This would be like the media thumbing their nose at that guy going, can you believe this man just went straight to a basketball game and didn't change clothes and wash up? What a scumbag. It's we love that because a guy worked his butt off in a coal mine, came and watched a basketball game with his daughter, and it's the epitome of the working man. And like I said, Tim Pool wants to be that. He is the image of the blue-collar working man who somehow became one of the bigger, news outlets on YouTube.
Yep. Many of these news organizations are represented in this room have marched in lockstep on false narratives such as the Very Fine People hoax, the Covington smear, and was being called the Maryland Man hoax, where an MS-13 gang member adjudicated by 2 different judges, I believe, is simply being referred to as the Maryland Man over and over again, Tim Pool said. Now, in an effort from the White House to expand access to new companies, you've been created the new media seat, he went on. So I'm wondering if you can comment on the following expansion. You've had numerous outlets disparage the company that you've had sit here, as well as the reporters, he said. I'm wondering if you could comment on the unprofessional behavior as well as the elaborate, if there is any plans to expand the new company access. Levitt replied to Pool's briefing, said he welcomes diverse point of views. He welcomes unbiased journalists who care about the truth and facts and accuracy, Levitt insisted. Levitt also referred to admit any wrongdoing of the administration regarding the deportation of Kilmar Obrego Garcia, even though the Justice Department lawyer admitted in court that his deportation was an administrative error. No, it wasn't. They didn't have a outbrief interview with him, which, who cares? He broke the law to get into the country anyway.
He went to the court 4 different times. 2 times to claim citizenship status, which they denied, and then 2 times to claim asylum status.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, he was like, I'm scared because a rival gang's going to murder me. Because why? I mean, and that's telling. It's like, why are you scared of a rival gang? Because I'm in a different gang.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm a gang member.
Said the president was always on the right side of this issue to deport illegal criminals from our community. And it is despicable to see the media counter to refer this individual as someone who is just a peaceful man living his life in Maryland, she said. This was, and always has been an illegal criminal, an MS-13 gang member, and a designation foreign terrorist. The administration maintains our position to deport the individuals from our community. So thank you for being here, Tim. It's great to see you. Thank you, she concluded. Poole was one of several right-wing commentators who worked with Tenet Media, which we just talked about, which prosecutors say received $10 million from 2 Russian media executives. According to the Washington Post, he earned $100,000 per episode for his weekly show. Again, that was the Culture War, not his news show. It talks to anybody. He talks to anybody that will come on. YouTubers, skateboarders,
track stars.
Whatever. Yeah. Poole claimed he was unaware of the source of the money, which he was. He talked to Lauren Chin.
He directly with Lauren Chin. Lauren Chin was going to be the president or CEO of this Tenet Media Group here in America. And the guys the backers were these Russian guys. Like, she never even really met with them directly. If someone said, hey, we want you to start a media company, approached you and said, wouldn't you take that opportunity? Be like, heck yeah.
Yeah. And that's the issue is like, yeah, so, and he took money from, I mean, how many times have you heard, like, I would take money from bad people, from left-wing folks? Yeah, taking money from bad people is
well, they do.
thing.
They take money from communists. They take money from evil dictatorships. They don't care where their money comes from. It only matters when people we don't like get money from people that we kind of don't like.
Yeah, but should these allegations prove true, I say, as well as the other personality commentators who were deceived are victims, Poole wrote last year on X that was later deleted. The show is now produced in its entirely by our local team without input from anyone external to the company. And that's how that article ends. So very biased, heavily biased article. And that's when I was typing this in. That's what half of them said. MAGA supporting, media host comes to the White House. And it's like, that's how all of them were when you type in Google.
Exactly. I mean, again, this is called poisoning the well. They are trying to gaslight the audience and go, don't believe anything Tim Pool says. He's biased to MAGA. It's like, if you know anything about Tim Pool, he did not vote for Trump in 2016. I think he did vote for him in 2020 after Trump's first 4 years, because she's like, wow, this was actually really good. It was a good 4 years. So again, it's like, if you don't know anything about the man and that's the first thing you see, well, you've poisoned the well, and you've poisoned thousands and millions of people's opinions on one person before they have a chance to get to know him.
Yep. But that brings me to this next video here, which, speaking of young blood in office, David Hogg also pushed this narrative that he's just a American citizen, a peaceful American citizen, and he is right now currently blowing up the Democratic Party. The Democratic Party, he is the vice chair of the DNC, and the Democratic Party is pissed now because he's saying he is going to, What'd they say?
He's
going to primary all Democrats in comfortable seats.
Yes.
So check this out.
This was not an MS-13 gang member, and you damn well know that.
Oh, come on.
He was not.
Okay,
and
so keep defending this guy.
The administration admitted this was wrong. In America, we have due process, and we are a land of law and order. We are a land of law and order. And this administration is repeatedly showing time and time again they do not care about what the Supreme Court says. They do not care about the rule of law. And you cannot defend sending people to another country.
Just did a poll
to another country where they don't have
Americans
rights.
Think that
where he's
all
denied counsel,
immigrants
due process,
should be
and so
deported,
much more.
by the way. So you're losing your effort.
Here's the real question. What is it with the Democratic Party and twink boys? Little light, I mean, like 120 pounds soaking wet twink boys. I mean, this is the weak, limp-wristed men that Democrats want. Like, David Hogg is exactly the type of man that the Democratic Party appeals to.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, like I said, this kid...
What it appeals to is weak people who will just read off talking points and won't do any investigation
and
themselves.
Won't think critically. Yeah. Yes, exactly. Again, this is why Caitlin Collins has her job, why the vast majority of CNN reporters have their jobs. They don't think critically, and they'll just read whatever you put. Just pay me a good salary, and I'll say whatever you want me to say. Yep. You know, I mean that's who David Hogg is. That's who all of these Democratic pundits are.
Yeah, but again, even said so. David Hogg repeated this talking point, and then we also had Hassan Piker repeat this talking point.
Again,
who is the most popular left-wing streamer on YouTube.
No, on Twitch.
On Twitch, whatever, social media.
Either way, but again, here's the point. Like our buddy who we know from college, who posted that whole working class Trump deports working class father of 3. Like that's the story right there. The fact that the average person believes that's the problem. And again, that's how we're consuming. Like he's in a bubble, consuming his information. People can say that we are in a bubble, and we kind of are in a bubble. But a problem is, when you're on the right, you have to consume stuff on the left because you don't have a choice. You're forced to consume left-wing stuff all the time.
Because that's 90% of the media.
Yeah.
90% of the news media that you just turn on the TV and, you just get your common channels. That's what it is. The only right-wing news outlet that we have is Fox News, and you could argue like Newsmax.
I mean, again, but the left creates the narrative, and the right only responds to it. We only respond to their narrative. Like, we don't have our own narrative. We just respond to it, period. And that's the problem with the right. Like, and anytime we try to create our own narratives, the Democrats come at it and hit it hard and go, lies, misinformation, evil. You know what I mean? Like that, we have no recourse. I mean, again, Elon Musk with Twitter is the only recourse that we have because it's like Community Notes says Caitlin Collins is a liar. Community Notes says CNN wrong. Community Notes says fact check false. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that's it.
Yep, 100%.
Because CNN and like as you can see with these Tim Pool articles, like I mean, they're just going to dump out like every single news media outlet that's on the left is just going to get on the same page, type out these articles with all these inflammatory headlines, and then discredit and disprove whatever they're saying without actually critically analyzing it.
100%. Yeah, but this, remember, is like what we was talking about in the beginning of this video, like lies spread by the left. If we all remember this one, look, it even says it in the headline here: fiery but mostly peaceful protests. Throwback to the wildest headline of all time, and this is crazy. You cannot hate the media enough.
Multiple locations that have been burning in Kenosha, Wisconsin over the course of... Christine, Laura, what you're seeing behind me is one of multiple locations that have been burning in Kenosha, Wisconsin over the course of...
Fiery but mostly peaceful, baby.
Yeah. I mean, ridiculous. This is why the media is constantly lying to you. And again, if you call that a fiery but mostly peaceful protest, then January 6th was a
Tea Party.
Yeah, it was a Tea Party compared to
They were just having
crap.
tea and crumpets on the front lawn of the White House.
Yeah.
It was beautiful.
It looked nothing like this, and this was a fiery, peaceful protest. This is how you know the media's lying to you.
And again, they want due process. They're flying out to El Salvador to talk to this poor, illegal, innocent baby angel Aladdin MS-13 gang member who got deported on your tax dollars, and we held all the J6ers, the hundreds and thousands of J6ers, for 2 years without trial or due process. So you want due process for people who aren't from this country, but you don't give a darn about due process for people who actually live in this country. Mm-hmm. Again, it's disgusting. It is absolutely disgusting and evil how the Democrats weaponize empathy.
100%. Then there's this next one here, and I'm sure that this had to do more with what's it called? What's that thing called? USAID, USAID, or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Joe Rogan talking about this. This is always blows my mind when you hear about crap like this. Why isn't this working? Hang on a second. Play.
Kids Wish Network. Look at this. They raised $127 million. They paid the solicitors $109 million, and they spent percentage on direct cash aid to the actual kids is 2.5%. 2.5%. Look at the Cancer Fund of America. Less than 1% went to the actual thing. Kids Wish Network.
Sure, BLM's the same way.
Yeah. Like, we need to go in. You wanna see what's actually going on with your money. This is why I have a hard time with donating to charities.
This is why you should donate to charity. Like, if you want to donate to charity, go find a homeless person and give them your cash. You know what I mean? Because that's better than giving to charity. Because when you donate to charity, you're actually donating to keep the organization, the charity itself alive. You're not donating to help anyone in particular.
That's what most people don't realize. Is like the organization hires a bunch of people and they overpay the execs that started at the top.
It's
and
like
then
a
they
union.
Pay the police. Yeah.
It doesn't exist to actually help people. It exists to serve itself. The union doesn't exist to help its members. It exists to stay alive. Mm-hmm. Like the union, you're paying the union bosses and stuff to run the union, not get better wages. Because again, it's like when I talked to my friend who just graduated college, was trying to get like a theater job, and like he was like, "Yeah, I don't know if I want to join the union." And I was like, "Really? You don't know if you want to join the union? Don't they get you better wages and guarantee you work?" And go, "Yeah, but all the extra money they give you, you just give back to the union." I was like, well, "What the hell?" And I just looked at him. What's the point of joining the union? He goes, "That's what I'm trying to figure out, man." And I was just like, "Holy cow, that's wild."
Yep. Then here's this next one I just thought was funny from the Babylon Bee. Trump's skin returns to normal human color after ban on artificial dyes.
Babylon Bee. Always crushing it.
Mm-hmm. And then there's another Babylon Bee one I have here. Easter Bunny dead after meeting with J.D. Vance.
J.D. Vance. Who was the real victim here? Oh, my gosh. Dude, yeah, these J.D. Vance memes are taking off right now.
Yeah, J.D. Like, they are so relatable, man.
But they're just so good because it's like, it's like the Xi Jinping one the other day. It's like, after meeting with the Pope, J.D. Vance calls Xi Jinping to meet with him. And they're going, I don't think I want to meet with you now. And again, the Easter Bunny one. Now, how great is that? Like, again, J.D. Vance memes, just keep being the meme vice president. The vice president meme chief is what you are, J.D. Vance.
And then there's this one, which I think is relevant since we're talking about news media and fact checking. Mm-hmm. Boys have a penis, girls have a vagina. I love that movie, by the way.
Yeah, Kindergarten Cop.
Yeah. And then it says false information checked by an independent fact checkers organization.
Again, this is what happens whenever, this is stuff that happened to me all the time when I would post stuff on Facebook back in the Zuck days, whenever he was like super pro left wing. And again, the tides have changed. I imagine whenever a left wing president gets in office, Zuck will go right back to his censorious ways. I mean, and again, I think we're still pseudo shadow banned because whenever I post political stuff, nothing. Whenever I post pictures of me and my girlfriend, thousands of likes.
People will see it. Yeah, it's the same way. I post pictures of my dogs running around and doing stuff. Lots of likes. Everyone enjoys it. Post a political thing.
It's like I don't exist.
Mm-hmm. Said, but the next one I have here is, so you're saying that tobacco products on a race car will make me want to smoke, but gay and drag queen storybook time won't influence my life choices.
Again, this is the logical thought process of, like the anti-smoking campaigns, the anti-drinking campaigns. It's like, they're marketing it to kids. Okay. All right. Well, I guess we won't do that anymore. It's all of a sudden, it's like, but whenever it's LGBTQ stuff or gay stuff, it's like, no, this is wonderful. Kids need to see this. This is culturally enriching. Mm-hmm. Like, get wrecked, scumbags.
Let's see what this one is. I forgot what this one
I think this one from John Roker.
Oh, yep. Sure is. Yeah. Muslims and Christian countries, Christians and Muslim countries, which is not wrong. Like, you have to pay in any Muslim country, I think maybe besides like, Turkey, I think you have to pay a jizya, which is a tax. Yeah, it's a jizya, which is a tax for not being Muslim.
Yeah. I mean, you are second-class citizens in any majority Muslim country. Again, this is why you don't see an influx of Christians going to Muslim countries. You only see an influx of Muslims coming to Christian countries because, A, they want the economic and welfare benefits because they're not going to be contributing members of the society, and they don't have to worry about being treated as second-class citizens. But by God, when they get in power, look out. You're all in trouble.
This one's good. The 4 horsemen of no clear mode.
Scroll down.
Scroll down?
Yeah, just making sure I wouldn't miss anything.
Yeah, you didn't miss any. Next one here. This one's great from SKS Cartoons. If they couldn't repay their student loans, then their education was useless. And then you got this person right here, which is clearly like a feminist, like trans type person. It says, you voted for Trump because you're not educated like I am, holding a PhD in gender studies. That's a person wearing a MAGA hat, getting ready to tow their car. Says, whatever, I'm just here to repossess your car.
And now this is what's so funny. Like Biden actually just illegally just canceled people's college debts.
Yeah, the Supreme Court ruled that illegal. And guess what? Everybody on the left was cheering for it, like saying, this is the greatest thing he ever could have done. Well, guess what? Now it's coming back to bite you in the butt because all those student loans are going to go right back.
Yeah, so now they got student loans on top of their car loans, and that's why this meme is so perfect. I'm here to repossess your car, ma'am. Sir, ma'am, whatever you identify as.
Yeah. And then your next one, this one's good that you sent me, says, why are protesters burning the flag that they want to come to and live in while waving the flag of the country they wanted to leave?
Again, I understand having pride in your culture and your background, but again, if your culture's so great and your country was so great, why are you here? Again, I guess economics is the only... Again, this is why the left is wrong about everything. It's like, they just need jobs. They just want... Well, if they just want jobs and economics and they don't plan to integrate, what's the point of them being here? If they're just here to benefit from our job economy, like, what's the purpose of being an American?
Yeah. Well, it's like we said, like we talked to one of our friends that has a couple of those people hired, except they're here legally, of course, and they said that, yeah, once you make about $40,000, at least this was, 10 years ago now.
Yeah.
They made about $40,000 US. They could go back and live comfortably in Mexico.
Not well off, just comfortably.
Yeah, you won't be living the luxury life, but you'd be able to live the rest of your life in, peacefully, basically.
Comfortably.
But that's about it on X, but we'll go back over here, and you sent me this one, or maybe I sent myself this one. I don't remember. Let me go ahead and restart it.
Mayor of Birmingham is a Muslim. The mayor of Leeds is Muslim. The mayor of Blackburn is Muslim. The mayor of Sheffield is Muslim. The mayor of Oxford is a Muslim. The mayor of Luton is a Muslim. The mayor of Oldham is a Muslim. The mayor of Rochdale is a Muslim. All of this was achieved by only 4 million Muslims out of the 66 million people in England. Today in England there are over 3,000 mosques. There are over 130 Sharia courts in England, and there are more than 50 Sharia councils. 78% of Muslim women do not work and receive state support and free accommodation. 63% of Muslims do not work and receive state support and free housing. State-supported Muslim families have an average of 6 to 8 children who all receive free accommodation. Every school in the UK is required to teach about Islam. The #1 most common baby name in England is Muhammad. This is not immigration. This is invasion. Is Muslim.
Now, I will just say, I don't know how true most of the mayor things are 100% true, and the most common name or most chosen name in the UK is Muhammad right now. So those two things are true. The rest of that stuff about them living off the state welfare, I don't doubt it.
I believe it.
There's definitely a spark of truth to it.
They don't have education in Islamic communities, and like I said, especially if they have Sharia courts. Guys, Sharia courts, that's a different legal system and legal structure being used in a country that has laws already. That's crazy.
That is what we're saying. Is they will ignore the European courts, and they will take their stuff, and like I think they even had a kid that like accidentally like violated some sort of law. The police officer escorted him to a Sharia court. I remember reading about that. Yeah,
God.
To apologize for like offending somebody. I think it was like probably a post or something. You're just like, holy crap. That means the police officers are acknowledging the Sharia courts, which
as like
should not
system.
be a thing. Yeah,
no. If there are Sharia courts being run here in the U.S., those people all need to be arrested for violating the law. They need to be arrested, put in jail, and locked away, or deported. Like, oh, sorry, are you actually from America? No, you're going back to your country because you can't set up a different legal system here in the United States. Sorry, piss off.
Mm-hmm. And then this is the last one, and I think this one's great, and it just really speaks volumes. I'll read it. I'll ignore the music, but because we can't do that. But it says, "We live in a society where homosexuals lecture us on morals, transvestites lecture us on human biology, baby killers lecture us on human rights, and socialists lecture us on economics." And, I just got that music and this guy kind of just standing there.
Yeah, I mean, the great paradox of our time.
Yeah, truly. And, like, that's scary. Scary that these people, I mean, the fact that transgender folks are telling us that, that they're women.
We understand what biology is. You don't. Bigots can't understand biology like we can. We're enlightened. We're anointed by, it's like not God, but by something.
Yeah. It's like that joke that we always make. It's like if let's just say like a let's make it the worst person in the world. Let's make it the neo-Nazi, Klansman, anti-Semite finds the cure for cancer. Would they not choose to get the cure to cancer because a neo-Nazi, anti-Semite, KKK person made it? He's like, I only made this for the white.
Yeah, I only made this for white people. It's like, come on, man. Like, it's ridiculous. Mm-hmm. So again, folks, you don't hate the media enough, I guess would be the gist of the story today.
Joey Salads
is back. If you trust the mainstream media, you trust CNN, I'm sorry. And you've been lied to, manipulated, or told, at least told half-truths or partial truths. So get out of the mainstream media bubble. And you can't trust everybody on YouTube either, but follow people like the Daily Wire, follow people like Louder with Crowder, follow people like Tim Pool. He's more of a centrist. That's what I say. You can't continually just be led like a sheep by the mainstream media because they're going to give you the narrative, nothing but the narrative, and that's it.
Yeah, no kidding.
You're a sheep being led to slaughter if that's what you believe. You're better off watching Alex Jones. Seriously.
Yeah. Alex Jones has been right more than the media has been the last 10 years.
The last 30 years. Alex Jones is the first person to go in there and go to those Bilderberg meetings and start calling out the elites and people like Bill Gates. So I trust Alex Jones way more than I trust the mainstream media, period. Remember, they sat on the Harvey Weinstein stuff, the media. Like that girl, you remember that epic moment of that girl? I had the stuff sitting on my desk, and all the higher-ups like, no, you're not going to report that. And I was just like...
Netflix documentary talked about that. That's like one of the few Netflix documentaries I was like, pretty good.
Well, it just goes to show you how evil they are. She could have took a stand and been like, I'm going to report on this anyway.
Yeah. Go to somebody else. Go to another news organization since mine won't.
Or publish it independently. But no, she was like, no, I really enjoy my job, and I get paid too well for me to risk my career on trying to stop a monster like Jeffrey Epstein from, owning a private island and, trafficking children.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's about all I've got for you today. This is The Twins with Owasso Live. This was The Morning Loop. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe so you too can stay in the loop. That is all we've got for you today. God bless you.
See you later, everybody.
Joey Salads is back with a vengeance. He set up a Tesla vehicle with the I Heart Elon sign, and then when people came up to it, he blasted them in the face with human, if you know what I mean.
Eat shit, bud! Eat shit, bud!
What the hell is this? This shit?
Yeah, eat shit. You want more? You want more?
I'll scratch your car.
I'll blast you, buddy. I'll blast you.
Joey Salads is back with a vengeance.